Well, hello YouTube! Greetings from the LazyEyebrowReviewer. It's a review for Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus. And I guess Minimus Ambus is here too. Well, better eat our vegetables before we have dessert, and yes, the comparison is proportionate. Minimus Ambus is a little sports car. Like, little. Heavy emphasis on little. So little, in fact, that I like to think of Minimus as an RC car. Not like this buffoon who didn't even rhyme, but like RC. Like, maybe even nitro-powered car. To prove my point, G1 Jazz and Combiner Wars streetwise. Definitely RC car size. Now let's not forget he does transform too. You pull out them legs, rotate the back plate around, and it's a little man who doesn't need a rhyme or reason to rhyme and still decides not to do it anyway. Yes, this is a weird little guy called Minimus Ambus, and besides the function he has much later, which is really cool, I really don't see a need for him to exist otherwise. His articulation features a shoulder joint and then a hip and knee. For his size, I suppose that's okay. I mean, he does have more articulation than, say, a G1 Bumblebee, so... meh? Meat and potatoes. Or dessert. Or... you get the picture. Ultra Magnus! Magnus here is a leader-class car carrier and truck. The first toy combination sold to the public as a semi-affordable, non-collector's edition toy I've seen since the 90s. Which really surprised me when I saw it, and as such made it kind of difficult to decide which I wanted to get. A $60 leader class figure, or a $240 collector's item. In the end I got both, and I don't regret the decision. This figure, oh man, is it ever amazing! I am super impressed that Hasbro spent the effort into making a car carrier Combiner Wars toy. They've really stepped up their game since that dip in toys that was 2012 to 2014. Now we've got Combiners, Headmasters, this guy, and even more. Figures of which I thought would never get officially remade for the sake of, the general public would never buy that. Well, we did. And we keep doing so apparently. Stupid scalpers. Still trying to hunt down a replacement off-road in Alpha Bravo for not a ridiculous price. But Ultra Magnus, I love this car carrier. It's impressively designed. Colors definitely scream Magnus, from all iterations, but especially the comics, which also reference the G1 designs. And this just does such a beautiful job capturing the essence of this character. For size comparison, Masterpiece Ultra Magnus, and both of these are just an impressive figure. I love the MP for its cartoon-accurate colors, and I love that shade of blue. But the Combiner Wars, oh man, does it ever just nail the G1 toys aesthetic. Again, both of these are just incredible toys from vehicle mode. I'm also amazed that Combiner Wars figure is smaller, of course, but not by that much. Next up, Classics Prime. And same story. The Combiner Wars figure's cab is smaller, but not by all that much. Would have been cool if the cab in the same size, perhaps at least to the Combiner Wars Optimus cab, but I also understand why it isn't. Otherwise, here's Fans Project Car Crash, G1 Jazz, Masterpiece Bumblebee, and, while not perfect, they don't actually scale half bad. Titans Return Blur, Battle in Space Deluxe Hot Rod, Generations Wheeljack, Combiner Wars Streetwise, Masterpiece Prowl, Alternators Tracks, and of course World of Nintendo Waluigi. Now, something I didn't expect, but I'm glad they've added in this feature just like the G1 and the Masterpiece, is a functional car carrier. Ramps fold down, the upper deck lowers, and you're ready for vehicular transport. Capacity of this car carrier, though, is 2 deluxe figures, whether that be Classics, Titans Return, Combiner Wars, or Generations. However, it is possible to fit 4 vehicles on here. For instance, G1 Sideswipe, Fans Project Car Crash, Masterpiece Bumblebee, and G1 Jazz. Basically, you can fit 4 of the smaller cars on here, which, well, I thought these cars were a good size anyway compared to the trailer. So yeah, he's a bit of a small guy compared to the other figures of the same line, but I still love it regardless. You can still fit other figures from Uniclasserations, which is great. It's a faithful Ultra Magnus, and overall, this is a fantastic vehicle mode. On then to robot mode. Remove the missiles, detach and move the upper deck up. Open the trailer side flaps, somehow manage to pull apart the legs from the blue chunk of plastic, swing around the feet, rotate the legs until they click, rotate up the back panel and swing it in until it tabs onto the leg. Spin the waist and top trailer bits. Separate and fold around the top of the trailer, slide down the upper deck into the shoulder joints, and then rotate around the arms. Pull out and swing around the arm cover. Untab and rotate the front truck cab. Slide down the trailer hitch joint until the spring-loaded mechanism locks into place, and then fold down the truck cab. Open the doors, flip up the top of the truck and the head, and close the doors back up. Fold out the chest piece, replace the missiles, and Ultra Magnus. As was the case in the truck and trailer mode, this is an impressive figure. I can't say enough how much this toy knocks my socks off. He looks just great. He's a tall, commanding figure, and they sure picked the right size class. I love his color placements. I love the double missile rack. I love how the truck cab is the bulk of the chest instead of the inner figure. I mean, no, he doesn't have his Optimus non-armor version, but who actually left him like that? Besides me, because I didn't actually own the trailer. It was a neat feature back in the day, and I get why they had it back then, but nowadays, this is Ultra Magnus. Never in the cartoon or several other iterations did he ever look like a white Prime, save for 1 or 2 comic book issues for one panel. So, it's awesome to see this and not just a white Prime, like that thing. So, accessories he comes with. Your standard blaster, and some weapon that at the very least looks to be semi-automatic. Couple that with the raised eyes he has that look a heck of a lot like aviators, and you're left with a guy who goes, "You think it's okay to leave a guy drawn and quartered, but make it look like he was shot in the chest? Well, do ya? Huh?" The other thing he can do is combine his 2 weapons and plug in the missile racks onto the sides, and there you go. He's got the Hammer of Justice. Or Forge, or whatever this silly thing is supposed to be. Cool thing is, Hasbro has made notches into the arm cover mold, so this actually can work, and he can hold the hammer. Nice touch, Hasbro. As for articulation, head turns and only turns. No up or down. Arms rotate 360. A separate plate on a hinge allows the missile rack to be moved. This allows for a separate joint on the trailer deck arms to move outward. This is genius. I love this so much, and kinda puts the masterpiece to shame a little with its pathetic excuse of one-click out shoulders. Bicep swivel, elbow bend, hands open with the same amount of articulation of the masterpiece version. Waist doesn't rotate despite no discernible reason as to why it wouldn't. There's already a seam in the plastic as if it were designed to have waist rotation, such as like a big rivet between the 2 parts, and nothing in vehicle mode would have suffered at all had it been designed into it. So honestly, I don't understand why it isn't here. Otherwise, universal joints in the hips for forward, backward, and outward movement, thigh rotation, knee bend, and forward and backward feet. It feels weird to say it, but this 1/4 the price leader class version of a masterpiece figure has more range of articulation, save for the head, which I can forgive it for because, oh man, that arm articulation on the Combiner Wars version. This is just, it blows my mind just how much more articulate this is over the masterpiece. Color-wise, I think the leader class version's paint apps are far more interesting to look at than the masterpiece too, with its bits of silver here and there, not to mention the red trapezoids and the shins that were missing from the masterpiece. Yes, the Combiner Wars version has the masterpiece line beat out in paint apps too. Don't get me wrong, I love the shade of blue and the overall color aesthetic of the masterpiece, and that alone makes me pick MP22 over the other, but Combiner Wars Magnus, oh, there is just so much to him that makes him great, and in my opinion, on par in terms of quality with the masterpiece. For other size comparisons, Classics Prime, Generation Springer, Battle in Space Hot Rod, Titans Return Blur, and Titans Return Wheelie. Defensor, G1 Sideswipe, and of course, World of Nintendo Waluigi. Now before we forget, let's talk about probably the coolest feature of all, and another reason why it made picking between this figure and Masterpiece all that much more difficult. Open the chest plate, open the doors, lift the head, and slide Minimus Ambus into the seat that is the chest cap. Minimus has little holes that go into pegs, almost like joysticks, you can hold onto while piloting Magnus. Located on the inner molding are 4 screens, a few levers, pedals, readouts, buttons, the works. Pick yourself up a set of toy hacks for this figure, something I haven't been able to do, and the inner cockpit for Minimus is fully decked out. Close up the doors, pull down Magnus head over Minimus, fold the chest plate up, and essentially, this turns Ultra Magnus into a Titan, or a Metal Warrior, or a Gundam, or a Jaeger, or basically just a pilotable mech in general, and this is so cool! Just the most randomest feature of this entire set, and here it is! Ultra Magnus, the car carrier pilotable truck, here to defend, and forge, and do things. I mean, could you imagine this guy going up against these two? Jaeger versus leader class robot. So cool. I just can't go on about this toy enough. This is a really cool toy. In the end though, the Masterpiece won out for me. Call me shallow, but it was simply because of the shade of blue, also its heft. They're big toys and I did have to pick one. So I have actually sold this, and it's currently in the possession of TF Fan Page 101. He was kind enough to totally take this box of amazing away from me, and doing this review, though, almost makes me regret it, though. It's just the coolest toy I've seen in a long time, and I don't think I can really say that enough. But, well, my shelf can only handle so much, and it was one or the other, and I've made my choice. But if you have to make the choice and you don't quite have a big wallet, please, please, please Do yourself a favor and pick up Leader Class Ultra Magnus. He is such a cool figure, and man, you will not regret it one bit. This has been the Lazy Eyebrow Reviewer.